minute or two to talk about salt and sodium in our diet. This is so important. And we hear more and more from the people we have contact with that their doctors are limiting their amount of sodium in their diet. So, with that in mind, let's go over some tips to help you reduce sodium, salt in your diet. Though these tips work in general for most people, if you have a condition, please continue to follow your doctor or dietitian's instruction.
It's important really to eat more fruits and vegetables that are rich in vitamins and minerals that can help be used as a substitute instead of using salt to add flavor. Try having at least 3 servings of vegetable and 2 servings of fruit a day. And they can be cooked or fresh. That's okay either way. Just be aware how they are prepared, including in sauces, making sure that there's not too much sodium added into a sauce or even a broth or any of the dressings you're using.
I think what's also important, Rachel, is for people to realize that cooking at home is really a good alternative. Then you have control over the nutritional value of your meals and how much salt goes into them. It's very common when you go to restaurants that the sodium content would be very high, much higher than you would even imagine. So try to find joy in cooking. For example, share recipes with friends or take a cooking class with a family member or a friend. Cooking is an art, and there are many things about it that you could make more enjoyable. And don't be intimidated. It's not that hard to cook.
Don't forget, though, you have to check the nutrition facts label and the ingredients of all your foods. Even if you're cooking at home, check the labels, make sure you're reading what maybe has been added to them or not. You don't want to have an excess of sodium. So about 70% of the excess sodium most people consume comes from those prepackaged foods or takeout. Some menu items from restaurants can top 5,000 to even 6,000 milligrams of sodium per serving, and that is quite a bit. We are not looking to exceed the daily recommended amount. About 4 times that is from sodium, and we're looking to keep it lower. So using herbs and spices and different seasonings to help things. What are some of the things that you often use when you're spicing things up?
I love to use basil, oregano, thyme, parsley, flavored infused oils like garlic
delicious.
oil, lemon oil. These work so well instead of using various salts. Other herbs and even some vegetables, green peppers, red peppers in particular, I think add a lot of flavor to many different recipes. In general, if you're using rice, it's usually paired with a sauce or beans that already have a lot of flavor, so you really don't need any sodium extra there either. And spend the amount of sodium allowance you have to season whole foods like produce, whole grains, nuts, and other healthy ingredients instead of highly processed salty snacks.
Right. Oftentimes, salt can be hidden in things like cans of soup. So if you like that particular item, you can maybe water it down a bit and add your own vegetables and herbs, even adding some other foods into that can of soup to kind of spice it up a little bit and, make it a little bit more of a fulfilling meal. And getting to know foods that do have surprisingly high amounts of sodium are where it's at. You have to make sure you're reading those labels. And the highest sodium foods that are common in the American diet are things like pepperoni pizza, white bread, processed cheeses, hot dogs, spaghetti sauce, and even ham, ketchup, and even those flour tortillas we love so much.
I think it all comes down to reading labels, doesn't it? We have to be very careful if we're on a restricted diet to pay attention to that. Some condiments that we are very popular, like soy sauce, bottled salad dressings, dips, ketchup, pickles, relish, and olives can also be very, very high in sodium. So look at the low sodium version, but be aware that even a low sodium version can still have a lot of sodium. For example, 1 tablespoon of low sodium soy sauce can have about 550 milligrams of sodium, which is a third of most people's daily allowance.
So it's really important to make sure you give yourself grace and know that as we are lowering our sodium dependence, it takes about 2 months or so. And we have to make sure that we build healthier habits that might impact our health in a better way. Knowing that you need only about 1,500 milligrams of sodium in your diet. It's really hard if we're already having items that have upwards of 5,000 milligrams. So it's making sure that you lower it slowly and using less things with sodium. So if you're cooking, maybe don't put salt or sodium in the item. And if you happen to need it, then you do it afterwards and don't have it in both places. It's a little bit harder to get it out of your diet, but I think you'll be able to do it. So give it a try. You might be surprised.